Hi. So before I start this video, I want to tell you that I'm not a NEET topper. I didn't get under 500 rank. I got 1 lakh rank. But for the last 3 days, I've watched over 50 videos of NEET toppers and how they actually study. So either you can click off this video and spend hundreds of hours searching for those videos and watching them, or you can just watch this video where I've condensed everything that they have said in those 50 videos, all the important things into this one video. So yeah, let's get started. So the first thing is biology. See, biology will fetch you the easiest 360 marks in NEET. Like, there's no question about it. But there's still this doubt that everyone has. Where do I study biology from? And it's so simple. You study biology from NCERT. NEET 2025, 2 or 3 questions were out of NCERT. I mean, so what? Still, majority of the questions were from NCERT. You have to read NCERT, especially for biology. You cannot skip it. Majority of the questions, probably like 95% of the questions are going to come from NCERT. Maybe more than 95% of the questions. So you have to read NCERT. And I'm pretty sure for the next NEET exam, which is 2026, the biology questions are going to be from NCERT. And there's this one mistake that almost every one of us do, is that we start focusing too much on modules for biology. Because in coachings, jo bhi minor tests, whatever tests are happening, they do give some questions from their modules. And I think that's a waste of time. If I were in your place, I would just skip all those questions that were from modules and only focus on NCERT. I would say use modules only for question practice and do not read theory from them. And also, when we think about biology, we all think about just sitting down and cramming everything up, just rereading it again and again. But that is not the ideal way to go about. You have to do question practice even for biology. It's not just for chemistry and physics. You need to do question practice for biology as well. Now let's come to revising. So how do we revise biology? What most of us, and even I, used to do was rereading the NCERT again and again. And it's not the most efficient way to do revision, because you've already read the NCERT once or twice. There's no point in reading it again and again. So here's like a tip for you guys. I learned this from, there's this YouTuber called Aditya Sanjay Gupta. I learned this from him. Suppose you have to revise one particular chapter from biology. Let's say molecular basis of inheritance. So what's the ideal way to do it? First, you should pick up previous year questions or some other questions from any PYQ related book, and maybe solve 100 questions. Let's say you are able to solve 40 questions out of 100 questions. Those 60 questions that you were unable to solve, just revise the topics in those questions. You don't have to revise the full NCERT. You don't have to revise the full chapter. Just revise the points that you don't remember. And how would you know the points that you don't remember? That's by practicing questions. You would know that, okay, I did not understand this question. Let me refer back to my NCERT and see what have I missed. And then read that thing again and again, and then come back to those questions and just do them again. That's how you revise. You're not supposed to reread it again and again. Okay, let's come to chemistry now. See, chemistry is divided into inorganic chemistry, organic chemistry, and physical chemistry. For physical chemistry, I'll do it with physics because they are pretty similar. So let's focus on inorganic and organic chemistry. Okay, first with inorganic chemistry, it's same as biology. You have to read NCERT for inorganic chemistry. Basically, all the same things apply for it. And one of my tips is to not try to use your brain too much while studying inorganic chemistry, because you are going to go crazy at one point, because there's too much to remember and it's not worth it, in my opinion, to try to understand everything in detail. I would just cram everything up. If you're already cramming like 2 books for biology, like what's wrong in just cramming inorganic chemistry as well? Just think of it as biology and just cram it. Now let's come to organic chemistry. See, organic chemistry, in my opinion, is all about pattern recognition. You have to remember the reagents, you have to remember how they are used in a particular reaction, and you would also have to memorize some important reactions. But organic chemistry is different from inorganic chemistry in a way that you cannot just get through it by reading it and by memorizing it. You have to practice a lot. You have to first cram it like how you would cram inorganic chemistry, and then practice it. I'll tell you how it's similar to pattern recognition. Suppose you have a question which involves 3 steps. Step number 1, step number 2, step number 3. Let's say you know what's supposed to happen in step number 1 and you know what's supposed to happen in step number 3, but you don't know what's in step number 2. But if you know step 1 and step 3, then you can probably assume what will be the intermediate product for step 2 for it to get converted into step 3. So you have to practice that. You cannot memorize it. You have to practice organic chemistry. Now let's get to physics and physical chemistry. See, P for physics, P for practice. You have to practice it again and again. And for physics, I do not recommend NCRT because I personally did not do it. But I would recommend you to practice the in-text questions of physics NCRT and just read the notes. Also, I get some questions asked about physics because for me, physics was my strongest subject and how I used to do physics. So I get this question asked कि approach कैसे समझ आता है, how do you understand कि शुरू कैसे करना है ये question को solve करना, and I'm going to tell you guys कि कैसे करना है. Let's say you do 20 questions, उसमें से you were able to solve let's say 6 questions and you were not able to solve the other 14 questions. तो जो 14 questions you were not able to solve, उनका तुम you would essentially look at their answers कि how they have solved it. Okay, so we are supposed to use this particular formula and put this particular value to get this answer. You just basically have to understand the approach, and then suppose you're not able to understand one question, just understand the approach and solve 3 or 4 questions which are of the same type. And you know what happens after this? Let's say you are only able to solve 6 questions out of 20 questions. Then for the other 14 questions, you understand the approach. Now you move on to other 20 questions and you are able to suddenly solve like 10 or 12 questions. Then you go to another 20 questions and now you can solve like 18 questions because now you know the approach on how to solve those questions. So yeah, if you don't understand any question, don't get demotivated. Just practice, just see the approach on how you're supposed to progress the question and practice 3 or 4 same type of questions till you get perfect in that. And the same thing applies for physical chemistry. You have to practice it. I don't recommend reading NCRT for it as well. Just read the notes and practice the questions, practice PYQs and solve your coaching modules for physics and physical chemistry. This was the NEET guide. You can click off the video right now or you can just hang out with me as I'll be sharing some personal stuff. So first thing that I want to tell you is everyone's been asking me ki, which college are you going to get? And I've like answered this question 15 times, but I still get comments ki, bro, which college are you going to get? So I will make a community post about which college I'm going to get. Second thing is, thank you for 800 subscribers. You wouldn't believe, but last month I had 7 subscribers. And if I were to like time travel 1 month back, and I would tell myself like, dude, you have 800 subscribers, I would not believe myself. And it's still kind of hard to believe that I have 800 subscribers. Probably by tonight I will get to 900 subscribers, most probably. So yeah, thank you guys, I really appreciate it. So yeah, this was it for today's video. Yeah, bye.